Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Maggie collapses, Xander and Konstantin's showdown, Alex's father's shocker, Days of Our Lives, DOOL, spoilers update for Monday, June 10th, reveals that Maggie Kyriakis, Suzanne Rogers, will collapse as the marriage drama gets out of hand. DOOL suckers know Maggie allowed. She had a establishment grip on the trap going into all this, but she come overwhelmed soon enough. Between Konstantin Meliuni's, John Capello's, concession about sabotaging Victor Kyriakis, John Aniston, airplane, and the peril that's about to post-date at the espousal, Maggie will have some great reasons to pass out. After Konstantin spills what really happened in Greece and some dummy flashbacks help explain his manipulation of Victor, day spoilers say the form will come with further curveballs. Despite Stephen Nichols' attempt to poke some bind on Konstantin and subdue him, Konstantin won't go down without a fight. In fact, Konstantin will force Teresa Donovan, Emily O'Brien, into a dangerous situation by pointing his armament at her and causing a shootout that leads to Steve getting wounded. Day spoilers say Teresa will become Konstantin's hostage, which will set the stage for Xander Paul Telfer, to hold Konstantin at gunpoint next. Xander will demand the verity as Konstantin keeps his grip on Teresa and makes it clear that her life is on the line. Both Xander and Alex Kyriakis, Robert Scott Wilson, will want some answers after Konstantin's cryptic commentary, so this is all structured to Konstantin's admission that Victor wasn't really Alex's bio-pater. Still, our prognostications suggest days will stretch out all the chaos out into Tuesday's DOOL occasion, so suckers will have to stay tuned to see the rest of the mayhem Konstantin will unleash. In the meantime, Steve will get some medical attention at the sanitarium, so Kayla Johnson, Mary Beth Evans, is in for a shock when her hubby shows up blood-stained and in pain. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Steve is thankfully going to be just okay, so Kayla will get updates on what went down and express relief over the news that he's okay. Maggie's collapse was the catalyst for a series of explosive competitions and exposures. It all started during a lavish family gathering, a scene of fineness and festivity, which snappily turned into one of chaos and concern when Maggie suddenly collapsed. Her unforeseen fall, the result of a long-retired medical condition, transferred ripples of fear through the crowd. The room fell silent as attendees rushed to her aid, the gleeful atmosphere replaced by a sense of urgency and fear. As paramedics arrived and whisked Maggie down to the sanitarium, the pressure only boosted. In the fate of her collapse, the true nature of the gathering began to unravel, revealing layers of retired motives and long-buried secrets. Among those secrets was the raising conflict between Xander and Konstantin, two important numbers with a complicated and inimical history. Their showdown had been brewing beneath the face, and Maggie's collapse acted as the detector for the conflict to erupt. Xander, known for his ruthless address and strategic mind, had been at odds with Konstantin for times. Their contest stemmed from business controversies, particular vendettas, and a deep-seated collective mistrust. Konstantin, inversely cunning and ambitious, saw Maggie's vulnerable state as an occasion to gain the upper hand. He believed that by exposing Xander's sins and exploiting the chaos, he could eventually settle old scores and secure his own position of power. As pressures reached a boiling point, the two men faced off in a battle that was as violent as it was ineluctable. Their exchange was a mix of sharp words, veiled pitfalls, and physical posturing. The atmosphere was electric, each man trying to outthink the other, using their knowledge of each other's history, solecisms, and secrets. Konstantin indicted Xander of orchestrating events to his advantage, while Xander combated with allegations of treason and dishonesty. The verbal sparring escalated, drawing the attention of everyone present and pressing the deep-seated enmity that had been stewing for times. Amidst this fermentation, another stunner was dropped, Alex's father's stunner. This disclosure, unanticipated and deeply particular, added another subcast of complexity to the formerly chaotic situation. Alex, who had always believed in the identity of his father as it was presented to him, was thrown into a whirlwind of confusion and unbelief. The verity about his maternity, revealed through a series of irrefutable attestations and admissions, shattered his understanding of his family and his place within it. The disclosure about Alex's true father wasn't just a particular matter, it had significant counter-accusations for the power dynamics within the family and their business conglomerate. The new information readdressed connections, altered alliances, and created a ripple effect that impacted everyone involved. Alex, floundering to come to terms with the verity, set up himself caught between his fidelity to his given father and the shock of discovering his real lineage. This internal conflict imaged the external battles playing out around him, adding to the emotional and cerebral strain he was under. As the events unfolded, the sanitarium where Maggie was being treated came a secondary battlefield. Family members gathered, their concern for Maggie tempered by the unfolding drama. In the sterile, emotionally charged terrain of the sanitarium, exchanges were hushed but violent. Secrets were rumored in hallways, alliances were tested, and opinions were made that would shape the future of the family. Xander, despite his hard surface, showed a rare moment of vulnerability as he visited Maggie in her sanitarium room. The sight of her, frail and unconscious, reminded him of the fragility of life and the consequences of their grim pursuit of power. This moment of soul-searching was short-lived, still, as the realities of their situation demanded action and opinions. Konstantin, on the other hand, used the sanitarium setting to foster his docket. He maneuvered through the crowd, planting seeds of mistrustfulness and distrust, aiming to insulate Xander and consolidate his own position. His conduct were calculated, each move designed to destabilize his opponent while strengthening his own standing within the family scale. Amidst these power plays, Alex grappled with his new reality. The disclosure about his father forced him to rethink his connections and his own identity. He sought answers from both Xander and Konstantin, each discussion shelling back more layers of deception and conspiracy. The more he learned, the more he realized the extent of the manipulations that had shaped his life. The capstone of these events was a dramatic family meeting, held in the sanitarium's private conference room. Feelings ran grandly as each person laid bare their grievances, fears, and mourns. Maggie's condition acted as a sobering background, reminding them all of what was truly at stake. The meeting was a turning point, a moment where truths were brazened, and opinions were made that would have lasting impacts. Xander and Konstantin's battle reached its peak during this meeting. Both men, driven by a blend of ambition, fear, and a desire for control, disaccorded in a way that left no room for conciliation. Their words were munitions, their histories used as security. The intensity of their exchange was matched only by the stakes involved, control over the family's future and their business conglomerate. In the end, it was Alex's voice that brought a semblance of calm to the chaos. His perspective, shaped by his recent exposures and his love for Maggie, offered a way forward. He prompted the family to put aside their differences, if only temporarily, to concentrate on Maggie's recovery and to reassess their proceedances. His plea for consanity, however delicate to accept for some, reverberated with the beginning verity that despite their conflicts, they were still a family. As the dust began to settle, the family members sluggishly came to terms with the events that had occurred. Maggie's health, though still precarious, became the central focus, reminding them all of their participated humanity. Xander and Konstantin, while far from resolving their differences, set up a grudging respect for each other's tenacity and resoluteness. Alex, fortified with the verity about his maternity, began to forge a new path, one that conceded his history but wasn't defined by it. In the fate of Maggie's collapse, the Demara family faced a new reality. The exposures, competitions, and emotional paroxysms had left an unforgettable mark on each member. Yet, amidst the chaos, there was a hint of stopgap, a chance for mending, for conciliation, and for a future that, while uncertain, was still theirs to shape. The assignments learned from this tumultuous period would guide them as they moved forward, stronger and further apprehensive of the significance of verity, fidelity, and the bonds that, despite everything, still held them together.